Are we having a party here? I don't know.
Welcome to Polishing Profits. Join our 3 industry experts boasting 140 years of experience as they unlock building service contracting secrets that can revolutionize your business. I'm thinking about what to say. Well, now that tension is broken, greetings and welcome to another fine, educating, inspirating, titillating, only to be outdone by the political conferences, the Polishing Profits. Ed's shaking his head. All right, what is today's topic? Sharon, I'm glad you asked that question.
I did ask it before you hit
I thought I heard it in there somewhere. Today, competing on value and not on price. We could probably do two full day seminars on this, but we're going to do it in probably about 20 minutes. Hit some high points for you. If you like what you hear, feel free to pick up the phone and call any of us. Ed, Sharon, we're here to help. We're here to start a conversation. If you're interested in learning more about how to do the things that we talk about and the ideas, how to get them implemented and make a few extra bucks. Competing on value, that's a big, broad statement to use. You can't compete on price, but you have to compete on price. You have no choice.
Right.
They're going to pay what they're budgeted for. So you can try to beat that budget, or you can give them more for the money, which is a real light definition of competing on value. What are you thinking? Rather the price. How do I give them more for their money than just I'll drop you another 10% and win the job?
Who is that directed to?
Sorry, Ed.
Let me ask you a question. Where on your client's profit and loss statement are you expensed? Where are you and your fee to your company? Where is it on their profit and loss statement?
Under expenses, under cost. Are you looking for a pigeonhole?
Well, it's overhead. What does every good business person do with overhead? At what point do we get them to abandon that fact and let them know that we dust and vacuum better than those other?
We vacuum.
But that's really it, isn't it?
Well, there's no value in that. Yeah, when I said expense, Ed, directly to your point, what we do is not a revenue center for any business.
Nobody's making money on what we're doing. Nobody.
And unless they're having troubles or have added space or have changed the scope of work, they're not going to pay a dime more than they're paying today, except the 3 to 5% they think everybody's due to cost of living when they go out for this. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
How about you, Sharon, from your experience?
Yeah. My experience has been that there will always be somebody cheaper than you. So when you're in the lowest price, and this isn't a blanket statement, because there are many instances when striving to be the lowest price is what you want to do. But typically, there's always somebody cheaper. And when you fight to become the cheap guy all the time, it's a race to the bottom. You have to offer other values besides price. Why should they pick you? If they're looking at 3 proposals and they're all within a reasonable amount the same, what are you doing differently that's going to make you win that account? Is it your proactive satisfaction program? For use of another word, it would be a quality control program. What is that? What does that look like? Is that of a benefit to your customer? What about your training? How do your people stack up against the other bidders in your category? How does the training look? How does your community give back? What's good about your company that would be of interest and help you seal that deal? So there are other ways to stand out with your customer besides the price.
This is an old term. They probably have a new one for it today, but value-based selling techniques focus on the benefits and the outcome. You have to talk in terms of benefits and outcomes. What's in it for me? You have to tell them, because everybody has, we've gone over it. Everybody has a quality control program. Everybody has data collection. Everybody's got a CRM. I can go down the line. You got $500,000 companies that have all this stuff to collect all this data. What do you do with it? How does it move the customer and improve their life, get the objects and the outcomes done in their facility that they want done better than anybody else? To
Well,
me, that's how we sold on value.
yeah, it's the old features
We
and
would
benefits sales training, features and benefits.
we have the internet.
It's what are
Sorry.
you offering and how does it help the customer? If you don't combine the two together in your conversation with the customer, you're missing half of the sales promotion, half of selling yourself. You have to
Yep.
tell them what's in it for them. Why does it matter? Because every other cleaning company has it. So why does
Why
it
does
matter?
continuous improvement matter?
Yeah.
Why does quality improvement matter? What does the customer get out of that? Where's the value for the customer? And so many owners, salespeople are just strictly, we have all the bells and whistles, all the trinkets and the fancy flashing lights. But until you bring it home to the problem solving for them, there's no real value because everybody has it. And then the only value is what I pay for. And you have to increase their perception of the value of what you're asking them to pay for. And that value has to have a greater worth than your competition's. Because if we're all the same price, then who are you going to choose? Well, if there's no difference in the value provided, and that value providing isn't just what you say, who backs it up? Your references, your referrals, your clients. You have to sell the value. And if you don't, you're just somebody else in a big pile of paper that's going to go with the price. Ed, you look like you're ready to go.
Listen, I had a top-notch property manager. When you met him and you asked him what he did, he built cities. And it was true. We had a great discussion because he was interested in self-publishing something to cleaning services about how to win. There's nobody in this city that signed more cleaning contracts than him. He built a whole chunk of downtown. What he told me, he says, look, I don't want to plow through pages of your non-existent BS training program. He said, look, I want to see stuff. I want to see charts. I want to see diagrams. Show me, show me, show me.
It's been a while since I personally delivered a proposal, but particularly large facilities, they would limit the amount of pages that you could give them in the response. You have to limit this to 10 pages or 5 to get your point across. No graphs. Tell us what you're going to do so we can understand it and what it's going to do for us and how you are going to perform it better. I can remember putting out 50-page proposals with everything. The funny thing is, when they review, they never look at it. I've known too many people that have sat on purchasing at all levels. We don't really read that stuff. We kind of want to see what it is and what you have. I mean,
he turns it into the price page. You hand them the proposal, and they look at the price page. If either of you seen anything different, let me know.
I told you my tactic was I'd give them the price and build the value. When I started, the first words out of my mouth, do you want to see the price or do you want to see what we can do for the price? What do you think 80% said before we started? I want to see the price. So I would take the price and then I would put the value to the price. And the value was all based on the solutions through the interview and all the other processes. Here's how we're going to solve your problems better than anybody else. And we can do it at or near the same price. And we did just fine with that approach. And a lot of people really appreciated it. You have to get them looking at the value. If somebody goes to the back page and all of a sudden they can't afford it and their eyes get big, you go, problem with the price? And then you let them talk. You're 20% more than anybody else. Well, now we better have a different conversation. Then you have to decide, are they lying to you? Or are they telling you the truth? We've all sat in hundreds, maybe thousands of these things. It's all about negotiating. But again, where the answer every owner, and I don't care what size you are, a salesperson, where's the value? To use the old Wendy's saying, where's the beef, right? When McDonald's was using dog food and Wendy's was using real beef, where's the girth? What are you going to do for me? Differentiate yourself. If you don't have that clearly in your mind, then you're selling price.
I think, and I've got it on my own thing on this, but
yeah,
it should be, the most effective thing is let your references tell them what's in it for them. You have third-party verification, which carries a whole lot more weight than saying, I'm incredibly great and groovy and wonderful and all that,
Your point's valid, but when they go to call the reference, what the reference says has to line up with what you told them. It has to support that. You've got to tell them what you're going to do, and somebody else has to say.
You got to know exactly what they're going to say before you put them down as a reference.
Right.
The best ones are going to come from friends. These guys are great. These guys are great. I have one contract strictly on my references.
Yeah, those are real referrals. I got quite a few of those too, where I was referred by one campus to another, or one facility property or VP to another. That's the best one you can get. But otherwise, you have to build the value, and then somebody else has to validate the value. To me, that's where the difference is in who I'm going to hire. Who executes better? And how can you get that across? You have to get it across. To Ed's point, someone else has to say, yeah, they do it. And the greatest reference I could ever get, and it came back time and again, yeah, they screw stuff up like everybody else, but one call, it's fixed and it goes away. And that's why we've had them 9, 10, 11 years. Because in our business, that's a commodity you can't find very often, when somebody calls in and complains and it goes away and stays away. Because why do they hire stuff out? They don't want to deal with it. And that puts us in a tough position. But then it gets into types of complaints.
And
Sharon?
two, when they have a problem, not only when there's a cleaning deficiency, but when they have an emergency or a problem within their facility and they need somebody right away to come and clean it up or fix it or do whatever, and you can service that need. That's huge, because a lot of companies don't have anybody on standby. They don't have anybody that can rush over in 30 minutes and fix the problem. So that's really a benefit. That's a reason for choosing a company.
Well, I know for a fact that nobody ever picked me for my looks. Never happened. And only once that I have, and he was just a facilities guy at a manufacturing plant. What these guys did was they made machines that smelled stuff. So if there was poison in the air, their little box would be an alarm. And we got to talking, and he said, I got to tell you something. He said, she walked in, and she was absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And I'm talking about from the first hair in her head all the way down to her toenails. Absolutely mind-boggling. The only thing I could come up with is, let me ask you a question. When there's a busted pipe or a chunk of roof missing in a storm, what are the chances of her getting them pretty toenails out of bed and into your plant at 3 o'clock in the morning? See, that's what I do, though. I hated that.
Looked at your proposal and looked at it from your customer's point of view. How am I providing more value than my competition? Why should you hire me?
We should define our terms here.
A couple of points. It's reliability. It's communication, both consistent and speed of response to, like Sharon said, emergencies and calls. It's the support they get from the team and the customer. What are you doing to help them do more? Is there any innovation and customization after you get in there working to make this contract? Trust and reputation is a big part of it. Trust is a currency. And that gets back to, well, who else said so? At the end of the day, no one's going to send you to a bad reference. Have you guys ever had the bids where they say, send us the last 3 people that left your business? Yep.
Tell us who canceled.
The owners can do as a simple exercise to train your brain to think this way so that it easily rolls off your lips in conversation. You make a list on one column of what it is you do. Next to that, write out exactly how that benefits the customer. Why does that matter to your customer? Take 5 features of your company. Write down the benefit that matches each one and rehearse those. If you haven't done this simple exercise, when you're in conversation during a walkthrough or wherever you might have contact with this customer, you can easily talk about these things instead of saying, well, all of our employees are trained. Our employees are trained in order to meet your specifications and provide outstanding service, blah, blah, blah. So that it all becomes one sentence. This is what we do, and this is why we do it. It will help you. If you rehearse it and go over it, it will help you. when you're working with your customer.
The
That is
value
huge.
is
It
in the
is.
softer
That is huge.
things, not all the hard things, the data collection. It just gets back to how well you perform. And again, it's reliability and consistency. What kind of service and support can I expect, right? Trust. Can I trust you to get it done? And let's get back to gets back to quality management. You can duplicate day after day a system that will get the results that I want, minimize the complaint or whatever, but minimize them, make them controllable. And can I trust you that I can communicate with you when I have something, whether it's a problem, a request, an information, a complaint, whatever it is, you'll get back to me with speed in a reasonable amount of time to solve this. I don't want it sitting on my desk. Those are the things that are of value. And if you can put a guarantee behind any of those things, that's a different discussion. You can really bolster the believability of your statement and the validity of somebody else telling them as a referral, yeah, they do that. They're that good. I've had them X number of years and they do those things. So that's where the value comes in. If you're going to compete on a piece of paper and a bunch of systems and they have no idea how it's going to make them run better, have fewer problems, and have better days, then you're back down to price and the guy or gal that's 10% lower is going to get the job. Probably may not have the value. The biggest problem I run into when we talk sales with people is getting out of the way and quit saying, hey, look at me, and start saying, hey, look what I can do for you. Look how I can make your life easier. Here are the outcomes you can expect from us.
Here's how I can help you.
To me, that's, Ed, how's that for a definition of value?
Oh, that's a good working definition. That is why I stayed in my lane. You said many times, Ed, you were in that business downtown. It was a tremendous help because what would go around downtown would carry me. My reputation meant everything to me. I'm not going to tell a lie. I'm going to tell you shit that you don't want to hear, but I'm going to tell you the truth. And that was what I got back. Was, well, Ed's a little bit weird around the edges.
And you have to do what you do well. We're people lane. I got tired of getting run over. I had to find a different lane. And for me, it was anything that was basically process driven. Clean rooms had us met.
Listen, there's an awful lot to that. I had a client in Toronto, and he did wonders. The secret was that whenever anything broke, he would fix it. He would wind up fixing electrical and plumbing and all this stuff inside the building. Here was the deal. He would not go downtown. You go to the perimeter where the owners are managing the building. An owner-managed building. Nothing over 75,000 square feet. It made a lot of sense, especially in Toronto. He said, once you grab a hold of their boiler, they ain't never going to cancel you.
You can
very
create
smart guy.
the
Very
best
smart
value
guy.
your ideal customers are and how you can serve them better than anybody else. That's a different discussion. We won't go down that trail, but we were the same way. We played on the outer edges. They were all owner occupied. I had one, I think I said it before, one building that was actually tenant occupied, three of them. And that's because they had a high tech customer in the complex. We played where we could play well, and we knew where we could play well. We're looking for us to deliver. And again, it gets back to, do you have a better solution than your competition? To me, that's value. If I've got a bunch the facts, features, benefits you brought up earlier. If you just have the facts and the features without the benefit, and the benefit has to be what's in the customer and why and how you do it better, you might as well throw it on their desk, wave at them, and say, "Let me know where I landed." So,
and that really should be on your website as well. When you're working and developing text and content for your website, most companies do list their features, but you want to be sure you include the
we don't do websites per se, but as part of a competitive analysis of clients, and we've done hundreds of them. This is just a silly wild ass guess, but 80% of them don't talk in the interest of the customer on their website. And I'm looking from a strategic point of view. We're not content.
Right. They don't. It's all about them. Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I disagree with you, Sharon. I think that About Us page is the most wasted page in our industry. They don't talk about themselves. They all sound exactly the same. And you can't tell between ISS and the local mom and pop. So I'm real big that is a golden opportunity to differentiate yourself. It really should be about us. I don't believe they do it.
You're talking
Not from what I
about the
think.
company.
Enough.
I know where you are.
You're talking about the company.
Customers.
Yeah, that page on the website that says about.
If they can get down to that. We talked about that was our entire focus. We were QMS, quality management systems focused. It was all about the customer. It was all about improving their service, being innovative, keeping market prices in place. And that's what drove us. They want to know what you can do for me today. And you better be telling them on that about page, this is where selection process starts. Because 70% of the people have been out to your website and look before they ever invite you. That's kind of a loose fact, but they do.
See, I think About Us page, they want to know who are the principals in the company.
I tend to disagree. We'll have to part company on that, what it's going to do for them.
That's where you put it in the other content, on the other pages. When you're talking about care, that's where you're talking about your features and benefits. To me, the About Us page means let me know who's in this company. And I want to see pictures.
That stuff all belongs. That all belongs in the proposal in the back end. If they want to look at it, great.
That's where that belongs.
You just tell them what you have. So we did well, and all did well. But at the end, they really don't care. They want to know how it's going to work for them. Yeah. We're on the other side of the coin. Let's make that clear to the audience. There's a difference. I didn't get into all that. Okay, I know 3 people that you failed with in the community. There's so much wasted verbiage on a web page. And like Ed said, pick one. We've taken customers out to 20. Give me your top 5 competitors in your area. They all say the same thing, Ed. I'm with you. And we've taken the time and done this and helped people straighten things out. On the messaging, we straighten out the strategy of the messaging. Somebody else can write the content. That's not our deal. Our deal is how to help you deliver a better message on those pages. A lot of people, go, oh, that's nice. I won't mention names, but there's companies that have been in 100 years from business and deliver crap. And there's some that have been in 5 years and knock everybody's socks off. So it's fun when we get into these things, when we get a little tension going.
What I have is the story that I tell. Look, I'm from New York City. In New York City, pizza is a religion. You talk about putting pineapple on a pizza and you'll get stabbed. There are parts of town that you're not going to make it around the corner with that pie. What amazed me was that there was a company that did absolutely gangbusters. They are a major national company with really lousy pizza, but it was delivered hot in 30 minutes.
Somebody
that made them. Listen, that's not pizza.
And they were all stationed around colleges.
We'll get you there in 30 minutes.
To get based on their extracurricular activities. That was Monahan's original strategy.
College in Ann Arbor, where Monahan had first place, and he made us in the dorm. He was running Superior Pizza at the time, and he made the pizzas. I met him when I was probably 19. Didn't know who he was. He was the pizza guy, and he would deliver stacks of pizzas to our dorm, which at that time had closing hours. The dorm was locked up at 11. So we would open the dining room windows, and he'd shove the pizzas in through the windows, and we'd have pizza. And that was Tom Monahan.
Well, listen, if you run into him again, don't tell him that Ed says your pizza sucks, but his pizza really does suck.
It was pretty good when you're 19.
But you weren't his target.
Student.
You ever watch Dave Portnoy do his one slice? He's got a sports thing.
I know what
Really
you're talking
interesting
about.
character. He has the one bite,
It's got a
takes
sports
one
thing.
bite of a pie from New York and then gives it its rating. What do we want to say about value and
Yeah, he's
closing
eating
up
more
here?
pizza than anybody. That's the way I
Competing
heard
on
about
value. Ed, what's your takeaway for everybody?
it. We don't agree. That's the takeaway on this one.
Well, I think we agree on the fact that you have to make your value known. You can't assume by what you say that they're going to know what your value proposition is.
To be what's in it for them. It has to be your focus of the conversation. If you're not priced near their budget, you're probably not going to win that work. These people all have budgets. Ed likes to ride that horse with the flag behind it waving that they're not going to spend any more than they have budget, unless there's big major change. So they're going to spend what they're going to spend, and you have to tell them why they're getting the most value for that money.
Right, it's true.
And I think we all agreed till we got to the web page. Here's how you do it. Sharon, you were talking about features and benefits. So, well, let's see where we can be found.
Great. We can be found anywhere where podcasts are listened to. We can be seen in video on YouTube. We can be listened to on Spotify.
Oh, name a few.
Apple,
Apple Music,
others.
Spotify, and YouTube are the big ones.
YouTube is a lot of fun because you can watch us banter back and forth.
Best wishes and
see you in the next episode. Oops.